And welcome in. It is the Holy Grail BCJ podcast right here on BearcatJournal.com. I'm Chad Brendel. He's Dave Simone. Hi, Dave.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Are you struggling to get to Sunday yet? It's been a long week for you.
Actually, no. I'm doing good.
Doing good? Just casual, excited. You're scaring yourself though. You're convinced the Bengals are going to win. I'm sure we'll get to that.
Well, I mean, I have quite the track record.
You're on a hot streak. So, other than the Cotton Bowl, but
what do you mean other than the Cotton Bowl? I said that they were going to lose.
Right. You're right. You did get that one. So you haven't missed a game in like
2 years.
2 years. Did you pick Georgia or did you pick Cincinnati? I don't remember. Okay. Yeah, then you're hot. If you're watching the game here in Cincinnati on Sunday, since you can't go to Paul Brown Stadium, where you can go is the Holy Grail. They're going to be featured on ESPN.
Saw that.
In the lead up to the game on Sunday. They are, let's be honest, they are the bar in Cincinnati. If you're picking a place to watch a game in Cincinnati, the first choice is always the Holy Grail. So make sure you're down there. Get there, I would say get there real early because I'm guessing spots are going to be at a premium on Sunday from seeing some of the videos of that place over the past couple weeks. So get down there, enjoy it with Bengals fans, and be ready for the AFC Championship game, 3 p.m. Sunday at the Holy Grail. All right, Dave, let's get to it. I guess we'll start with basketball since that's the most recent thing. That's the most recent thing. There's a lot of consternation on the boards, Dave, about the loss on Tuesday. I guess what I would say, we've talked enough about the game. Like, I don't think we need to break down the game. I do have one thing to say on the game here in a little bit. I'll get to that. But I guess the one thing I would say was, isn't this what we knew was going to happen? They're going to play really well at times and win some games maybe you didn't think that they would. And they're going to play really bad at times and be in danger of losing games that they probably shouldn't. And that's what happened on Tuesday night. They made 5 shots in the entire second half, 1 field goal in the final 9 minutes. Chances are you're going to lose those games.
Yes. I think, though, at least from my perspective, the way that it played out makes it harder to just be like, yeah, we knew we were going to not, like, I mean, of course, you're not going to win all the rest of your games. Like, we knew that coming in.
The way that it played out, they missed they had good shots and they missed every one of them.
They also took a whole lot of really bad shots.
I wouldn't say a whole lot, but when you're,
I would.
Okay, I disagree.
How do you miss? So they just missed 95% of good shots.
No, I'm not saying there weren't bad shots. There were good shots, and there were a couple rush shots that I think that was a result of the fact that they were trying to press things because they couldn't get anything to fall.
Well, okay, then I have a lot of issues with the plan of attack when you realize you're not getting anything to fall.
Okay, go. I'm excited now. Okay, they tried attacking the rim, getting the ball to their big guys. That didn't work. They tried mid-range shots. That didn't work. They tried open three-pointers. That didn't work. They tried giving DeJulius the ball and letting him cook. That worked more than anything else that they did, mainly because teams are overreacting to his step back now and jumping into him when he does it. But if you go back and actually look, there were multiple clean opportunities run off of good offense that they just missed the shot. Or you have a 7-footer that gets blocked by a point guard. Like, that can't happen, but it did.
Right.
I don't think they were just jacking up terrible out-of-rhythm shots early in the shot clock just for the sake of jacking up shots.
Not for the sake of.
And that's what cost them the game.
But, I mean, I don't know. There were, if I wanted to go back, I bet I could find at least 10 in this just in the final 14 minutes that were just horrific attempts.
Okay. Then if you're gonna come to the podcast with that stance, then do it.
Well, no, I
just gave you like six or seven different looks that they were well executed offense. The play got what it was designed to get.
Well executed offense when you make one basket in 15 minutes. It's not well executed.
Dave,
if it didn't,
you can say if you draw up a play and the play gets you exactly what it's supposed to get you, then you don't make the shot.
It's not a well executed play then.
Yes, it is.
How?
Because you get exactly what you drew up.
But you didn't.
This is what we want. Okay, but that's execution. That's not bad offense. That's not putting the ball in the basket. Good offense gets you a clean look. If you get a clean look and you miss it, that doesn't mean you ran bad offense.
You can't possibly say that they ran good offense and scored.
I can. I went back and watched it.
Second half.
Dave, you can miss shots. You can have good at-bats in baseball and not get a hit. You can have good drives in football that stall out for whatever reason. You can do things right and they don't work.
I don't agree.
Okay.
A good drive in football ends in points. There's no such thing as a good drive that doesn't end in points.
Oh, there's plenty of good drives that don't end in points. So if you have a good drive, you get to the 3-yard line and your kicker shanks a 27-yarder, the drive was bad?
Because you didn't convert on 3rd and goal.
Okay, it was 3rd and 14 because you got a sack. You're a Bengals fan, so you're
good enough.
Sacks. But you got all the way down the field.
But you didn't score.
You got 8 yards on your drive, and your kicker missed the chip shot. That's good offense. It's a bad result. You can do things well and still get a bad result.
Yes, you can, but not over and over and over again, and then say that we just had a bad result. There has to be some element of the process that is also bad, or you wouldn't keep doing the exact same thing that give you the bad result.
Because they didn't Temple decided they were going to play overly aggressive on the perimeter. And Cincinnati didn't do anything to effectively take them out of that.
You just said it. They didn't do anything
because they
different.
didn't finish. Yes, they did. Go watch it. They did a million different things different. They ran different looks. They got the ball in different actions. But they didn't convert to take Temple out of what they were doing.
So you would say that if we asked Wes after the game,
we did.
And he said we did everything we wanted to do exactly the way we wanted it, but we just didn't.
Not exactly, because you're not going to be perfect in that. But they got what they wanted.
They didn't have to be close to perfect to win the game.
Okay, and they weren't. They were terrible.
But
that doesn't mean they ran bad actions.
I can't fall in line with that. I just can't do it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I can't fall in line with we made one basket in the last 14 and a half minutes. But we did everything we wanted to do. We just didn't make any of those shots. We didn't we didn't get to the line, and our point guard missed 3 straight free throws, one being a 1-and-1. That had nothing to do with actions or
that's not converting. But you just said they get to the free throw line. Okay, they got to the free throw line. You didn't make them.
Exactly. That's my whole point. They didn't execute. They didn't finish.
They got a lot of what they wanted, but they didn't finish. I guess I just can't look at it that way. My mind doesn't work that way to go, we got exactly what we wanted, but we didn't finish, but it's okay because we got what we wanted. I mean, that's all you can do. That's the whole point. You draw up what you want. You get the action. The action succeeds to the point that you get the look that you want, and then you miss the look. What else are you supposed to, as a coach, what else are you supposed to do other than draw up the action, put them in position to make a play, and it's there for them to make?
I guess nothing.
They had a bad half, a terrible half. But that doesn't say
and also,
specifically.
We're just talking offense. They also rebounded like dog shit.
I think they were even in rebounding.
They were down. They lost rebounding by 11 rebounds.
No, I was looking at a different time, I guess. Well, yeah, of course they lost. They missed every shot.
They missed
of course they got beat on the glass.
48 shots and only got 11 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, they didn't do a good enough job offensively on the glass. I will give you that. Now they got 13 offensive. No, that's Temple. Why are you bringing up Temple?
Then they gave them 2 extras from after the game, if that's the case. But
no, that's Temple. Yeah, they had 13 offensive rebounds. It was 50-42, not 11. It was 8. And that's because Cincinnati missed 38 shots. That's where the difference was defensive rebound, or 48 shots. Sorry. That's the whole difference in rebounding is Temple got more defensive rebounds because Cincinnati couldn't throw it in the ocean.
And they're not even a good rebounding team.
They're a decent rebounding team because they have great length.
But
expecting them to be a good rebounding team.
I guess that's the part that when you have a night where you just literally can't make a shot. Okay, whatever, that happens. But then don't you have to put more? I mean, I'm sure they did, but
they had what 6 times where somebody from Temple just took the ball away from a UC guy that had a rebound in his hands. That part is maddening. That they just don't, for whatever reason. There are way too many times that they've got a rebound and it just pops out. It drives you insane because you should be ending defensive possessions with stops, and all of a sudden the other team's got the ball again. That part is frustrating as hell because it's they're getting to the ball, they're blocking out, they're completing their assignment all the way up to the point.
What was the one in the second half where Buddy missed it, and I don't know what happened with JD, but dude just came in and got his own rebound, just right around him.
And I they've worked on it. Clearly it's
not
been a point of emphasis.
Of course
this is just a bad rebounding team. Which is a Cincinnati fan, it's frustrating because
I know, what would you do different? I don't know. I don't make more shots. The stupid run the make shots offense.
Yeah.
But
the other thing.
What was how many free throws did we attempt in the second half? I know Aaron just had that up. But,
not a lot. Other than DeJulius, I think had almost all of the
free
throws.
He made at least 3 or 4 because he got how many?
So they shot 16 in the second, 16 in the second half. That's better than I thought, but I think 6 of them were from.
It's more than I thought. I mean,
6 of them were from DeJulius getting fouled on threes.
Right.
The other thing, and I addressed this a little bit last night on the nightcap, but I want to talk about it again because it annoys me. So throughout the game, I noted that the officiating crew stunk. They stunk for Temple. They stunk for UC. They stunk. And, of course, after the game, and I said many times, UC lost the game because they played terribly in the second half. Couldn't make a shot, couldn't get a stop when they needed a stop, didn't do the things they needed to do to win. But then everybody, the Johnny-come-latelys, Chad blaming the officials, which I never did. Never once said they lost because of the officials. But maybe I should have. Because by my understanding, double-digit egregious missed calls in the game that went against UC. Double digits.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Double-digit egregious missed calls that went against UC. And one of them was not John Newman doing everything right, getting to the floor, getting the ball, calling timeout, and just having it ignored until they were able to tie it up. That was not deemed egregious.
It was just terrible, not egregious.
Yeah, but double-digit egregious officiating calls in that game.
It was maddeningly terrible, but at the same time, that had nothing to do with.
I'm not saying it did.
I know that's what I'm saying.
But it's to the point. The point I'm making is, of course, I'm going to talk about it. It happened in the game.
Oh, it's a part of the game. We're not But you're not also saying that like they lost because of this.
No, I never once said that.
No, you're just saying like it's a huge. I mean, that'd be like saying when what was it the NFC playoff game a few years ago when there was the terrible no call on the pass interference or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like you can't not talk about it. You're not saying that one play, in that case maybe it did, but like the one play doesn't determine 60-minute game, but you're not just going to ignore it as if it didn't happen at all.
Double-digit admitted egregious calls.
And nothing will happen to those guys.
No,
they'll just
nothing.
keep reffing like it's fine.
And that's a guy that is like everybody says he's good. He's ref 7 of the last 8 Final Fours.
Who, Pat?
Doug Sermons.
Or Doug Sermons, yeah. Geez.
No, Pat Adams was last Thursday.
Oh.
And he sucks too. Like, I'm not going to stop calling out bad officiating because it makes the game hard to, like, these guys, their ego that they bring onto a floor is maddening because the job of an official doesn't include letting your ego get in the way. It doesn't include, you got butthurt because Jeremiah Davenport was rightfully upset because the dude put his shoulder in his throat and you called the foul on him. Like, now they got it right and but whatever. But that stuff just drives me absolutely bonkers in a game. And to have multiple, everybody's got I got you, Chad. I got you in my mentions. Shut the fuck up.
It's dumb. I mean, like, it's not like we're blaming you can't sit there and watch the way they played and just act like it was the officiating.
Right. Which I didn't. But I also...
If they played really good and then a few calls just totally boned them and then they lose on calls didn't happen, that shot wouldn't have mattered. Okay, sure, whatever. But, like, anybody could have watched that basketball game and been like, these guys are terrible. And it wouldn't have had anything to do with if they were rooting for UC or rooting for Temple. It's just about watching bad officiating.
And I think Doug Sermons is like the lead official in the Big 12.
Is he really? I don't know anything about
that. I think so. But they had the Tony Padilla one last night where he called 2 technicals on dunks that the kids didn't even do anything. Like taunting
in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Oh.
There were 2 dunks within a couple minutes where a dunk and the dude just the one he called it, which I guess is dumb as hell. He dunked it, caught it, and just rolled it to the sanction. And they called that a technical delay of game, which is supposed to be a warning, not a technical. And then another dude dunked, and I think he tapped his head, and they called a technical on him.
What if his head hurt? What if he was my head? I'm out of breath.
You know what this is the signal for? Come get me out of the game.
I need to come out of the game. Yeah.
I just get it makes the sport so hard to watch.
Well,
you've got these jackasses running around thinking it's about them.
Is that these guys have been doing this for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
How do we have in no other athletic endeavor, because they're running up and down the court. I mean, they've got to be in some level of shape. I wouldn't make it up and down 2 times probably, but why do we have 50, 60, maybe even 70-year-old people reffing basketball and football with, in college's case, 18 to 22-year-olds in the NFL? You got these guys there are guys definitely in their 60s.
Yeah.
Running up and down a 100-yard football field, and we think they're going to be able to have the reactionary time and to see things. And what are we doing? Are they just that hard up for new blood?
I guess. You would think officiating at that level, I get why nobody's officiating at the high school levels because parents are lunatics.
And they're right there. They can really yell at you.
I just want to say I've had this take all season long since football started, and I've been called an ageist for it. So I just
an ageist?
just wanted you to know The ageist people they'll come after you.
They're coming for me.
Just saying.
That's fine. That's fine.
I mean,
I remember, remember the old Big East days when it was like Tim Higgins and John Clougherty, and you thought they were going to have like a heart attack? Because
I thought every game Tim Higgins did, I thought he was going to die. Like that dude, he would literally at like stops at timeouts.
Go sit down.
Sitting on a wall, like.
It's like, what are we doing? Oh, but they're so bad. And yeah, I mean, like, it's impossible to, I mean, from a coaching and from a playing standpoint, it's got to be so impossible to get into any sort of flow or game plan or understanding of like what we're trying to do if they all of a sudden have an insane tight whistle and then 15 minutes later it's like, you know, MMA out there.
Or if one team, Temple, is allowed to play aggressive, completely in-your-face aggressive on defense, and no fouls are called, and every time Cincinnati touches the Temple guy, a foul's called. Like, there's no consistency. There's no, like, rhyme or reason to any of it. And it's maddening. So if you're expecting me...
I think unfortunately, that's everywhere. I mean, I'm as a Tennessee fan, I deal with SEC refs that are... You know, they're
I haven't made this exclusive to the AAC.
Unfortunately, I just think I think in college football, because you have specific college basketball, you have refs reffing multiple conferences.
Yes.
They have to, with the games being on, you know, the same nights. They have to be able to work a Monday, Tuesday, whatever they want to do.
Oh, they work 6-7 days a week. That's another thing.
That's a whole nother thing. Is you can get online and see these guys' schedules, and you got 63-year-old referee reffing 9 days in a row. Like, how is his performance going to be, satisfactory on game 8
in 9 different cities, and he traveled 2,000 miles?
Yeah. Which I don't blame the guys. I mean, you're going to pay me X amount of dollars, and you're going to let me ref as many games as I want. Yeah, let's do it.
You're going to pay me $3-4 grand a game, and my window is April, November to March.
Yeah,
I'm working as many days as I can. Let's go.
Yeah. But at least in college football, you get officials for your league.
Yeah,
that you would hope would be an upgrade. Going to the Big 12, although they have had, I know, several of their own issues over the years.
True story.
But it really, I mean, it's a hard deal. But like, you just want to go into an arena, I think, and that to me is like has to be the most frustrating part, is when you walk into a gym and you're a coach and you see somebody and you're like, God damn it.
Here we go.
This is going to be brutal. Like, it has to just totally like change the way that your mindset is. You tried not to allow it to, but I mean, you guys have track records, just like players have scouting reports. Officials have scouting reports. I mean, I know from the AFC and the NFC Championship game, the NFC Championship game crew has at least the lead official, because it's a mix of the supposedly
which is terrible.
Why would you do that? So you got a bunch of guys in the biggest game of the year reffing with each other for the first time.
Stupid.
But the lead official, head referee for the NFC crew, his crew called the most penalties of any crew this year, and the guy that's doing the Bengals game threw the least.
Right. So you're in 2 completely different forms of the sport. Aaron brought up a good point in the you can't see it chat. Hell, some of the times fouls were called against Cincinnati that didn't happen. When Mike Saunders didn't even touch the guy. The guy just fell down.
Yeah, he was like going too fast for his own feet and jump stopped, and he made a ridiculous shot. But yeah, he just nobody touched him. The refs just assumed he did because he was awkward and fell down.
If you expect me not to mention that, you're an idiot. Like, if you think I'm not going to talk about that during the course of a game when it's as bad as it was in that game, you're an idiot. You're out of your mind. Of course I'm going to talk about it. It's part of the game. Does that mean I'm blaming the outcome on it? No. It means I'm talking about the game that's happening in front of us. Anyway. 14-6 now. 4-3 in conference, I think it is.
Yeah, I mean,
4-3 in
that one
conference.
really just kind of like
it hurt. But if it was a Q2 game, like that Temple team is not. They've actually.
It's not the. See, to me, at this point, it's not as much just like the quality, so to speak. It's just the fact that you had that game. I'm not going to say won. There was still a lot of time left, but you were playing a lot better than them. You had the game in a position to win a road game that we know this team is going to have trouble winning road games. They're just not, they're not a great team. So you had a road game in your grasp that you let get away that you now know, like, we still got to go to Houston. We still got, other road games, probably against not as good teams, but they're still going to be hard games. So you just, it just really hurts to give one away that you were, for the first, I'm not even saying playing well, but like for the first 25 minutes, you were in control. You got to.
They played well for 4 minutes in that.
But
game.
I mean, you were in control. You were in control to win the game with 14 minutes to go. You're up 12.
They were in control to win the game with 10 minutes to go, 8 minutes to go,
yeah,
5 minutes to go. Like that was almost what was just as remarkable. Like I was really impressed for most of the game that they were struggling on offense and still their effort was where it needed to be. They were doing what they needed to do to get stops. They weren't making a lot of baskets, but they were doing a good job making timely baskets to stay out in front. And then obviously, you make one basket in the final 9 minutes. That part went out the window.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
okay, never mind.
I think it's I think they're kind of what we assumed. They're going to probably need to win the conference tournament, which is the way this conference is.
Not out of realm of possibility.
Heck no.
I mean, Houston still looks better than everybody else, but they don't look substantially better than everybody else all the time. There are certain nights where they punch you in the mouth. And
I mean, would they beat East Carolina by like 30-something the other night?
They were up, I think, 100 at one point in time. It was 74 to 30.
It's also not in their gym, and we know that how much better they play at home.
Yeah.
So, you just can't. And it's just crazy. Like 90 points the game before, down to what was it, 57, 58.
Yeah. Well, and a game where you had 37 at halftime. Like that was. The first half was kind of really impressive to me, actually, because they didn't play well.
No, the last
still went in with 37
4
points.
Minutes, they played real well, and then
they had a 13-1 run to close the half.
Yeah.
But you went in with 37 points. It was like they kind of played like crap and are on pace for 72. I don't know. It definitely stings, but it's kind of It's why we thought this was a 19-20 win team to start the season, because we knew that there were going to be on the road some of these games where you walk out of it and you're like,
that was gross.
Brick that one, yeah. Like, this one coming up Sunday. I'm sure you're going to be on the edge of your seat.
Wait, there's a game Sunday. There's a game on Sunday?
At ECU.
There's zero chance I watch a second of that.
At ECU, let me make sure I'm right here. At ECU, I believe, is noon Sunday.
I'd love to know the ratings in Cincinnati for that one.
Sunday, 12 p.m., Greenville, North Carolina, Cincinnati versus ECU.
It has to be ESPN Plus, right?
I think it might be ESPNU.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to see the numbers on that, baby, in Cincinnati. Not like anybody in Greenville's watching it either, but
right. Yeah, noon
oh,
Sunday.
Yeah, appointment viewing that baby.
I mean, that'd be good. Get you your pregame on.
Chad, I would literally rather watch anything else that has to do with the football game than that. I don't want to be that's just a depressing. We know it's going to be an ugly, crappy game in the 50s because every single game, regardless of how good or bad both teams are, is the exact same game at ECU. It's the exact same game.
Yeah.
Every
ECU's lost 4. That's ECU's lost 4 of their last 5. Their only win, a 1-point win over Memphis. Cincinnati's won 3 of 5. Also, the Memphis loss, and then Temple, that's kind of the disappointing part, Dave. We talked about this 5-game stretch: ECU, Wichita, Tulsa, Temple, back to ECU. If you can win, you go 4-1 in that stretch, and you came out of it none the worse for the wear, really. But you had a chance to go 5-0. Like, that's kind of what stings about that. Is you were right there. You'd be 5-2 in the conference. Be right behind Houston and SMU.
With playing Memphis and Houston at home then coming up. I mean,
yeah.
Have a real chance to
make a push.
Memphis is not, I don't think Memphis is a tournament team unless they do something crazy here.
Memphis has got to win out to be a tournament
right
team.
But it's still people are still paying attention to them for that reason. And you would I have a lot of confidence they'll beat Memphis at home. They just always do, and they're a friggin' mess.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's you just can't be. We know that this team is going to be inconsistent. There's going to be massive swings from game to game, and you had a chance to grab one that you let get away.
Right. Which stinks. But on to the next one, which is where they're at heading into ECU Sunday at noon. I knew you'd love that. I figured you probably didn't know because you haven't.
Had no idea.
Noon Sunday.
At least
Bengals.
it's not at home.
Yeah, that would be one that making the decision to go would have been pretty tough. ESPNU. I see that. I see it, Aaron. I see it. I was right. ESPNU. That would have been one that especially since post game is all Zoom now. That would have been one I probably would have worked from the old home office. I'm just saying. Let's get to football. Mick has. I feel like we have to cover some, a quick regional college basketball story with everybody's favorite, man, Chris Mack getting shit canned yesterday. We talked about it last night on the nightcap. I mean, it's you better win.
Here's the question you and I bantered about. How fast does Xavier rehire him?
They're in a weird spot
that
right
loss
now.
To Providence last night probably didn't help things with the old faithful.
No, I mean, I think I don't know. I think there might be enough damage to that relationship with him leaving that I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure there is. I'm more joking, but if you ask them, would you rather have him back now?
You would think so. That's a guy that seemed to fit perfectly at Xavier. So, and he missed the tournament, once in 9 years, I think? And had them on the upswing and a 1 seed, a 2 seed in his last 3 years, 4 years, whatever it was.
The Tom Mars tweet with the red. He can keep using the red border tweets with Louisville.
Well, they settled. That's done.
Oh, they're done?
He gets
what's he get, $133,000 a month till 2025 or something?
Yeah.
It's not bad work. Maybe him and Johnny Boy can go, and their wives can go coach some junior high basketball.
And they can go do whatever the hell they want.
Well, one of them.
Yeah.
Well, he could do that already. I mean, he was working in Louisville for a couple years.
Yeah. Still, it's a lot of change. It's a lot of walking around for your monthly stipend.
So when does Mick take the job?
I would love to see him take it. I think it's gonna be hard to walk away from Westwood. He's got that thing cooking pretty good right now. He's got the number 2 recruiting class, number 2 player in the country.
He doesn't I'll tell you what he doesn't have. He doesn't have like 15,000 fans at his games.
They're back now.
Oh, he said something and then they're back now?
Yeah.
Everything's the COVID's gone after the 2 week of no fans or whatever. Everything's good.
Everything's good now. So I think if there still would have been no fans at their games, I think that could have been an interesting development.
I wish they pulled what Vanderbilt pulled just so I could hear what his comments would be, because they would have been amazing.
What did Vandy do?
Oh, Vandy, they weren't allowing students at the games, but then they were selling the student tickets to the general public. Oh yeah, there were a lot of Vols fans there last week. I'll tell you that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
no students because of COVID, but we'll sell your tickets to the general public.
That's ballsy.
You think? They played Kentucky and Tennessee during that time frame too. When they pulled this move.
So the 2 biggest ticket sale games of the year.
Yeah.
That's certainly interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Anything for a couple extra bucks, I guess.
I guess the SEC money's not as good as we thought.
Were the students not showing up?
No, it was a whole health and safety protocol thing.
Get these dirty, grimy students out of here.
Even though every student at Vanderbilt has to be vaccinated and boosted or something.
Wow.
But
all right.
Anyway,
Aaron, 37 minutes basketball.
Do we get a sponsor for the timestamps yet?
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Do we get a clock company, a watch repair shop? What's the wheelhouse for a timestamp sponsorship?
I don't know. Anybody that wants to give us money is kind of where we're at. Is that okay with you? Anybody that wants to give us money?
Oh, it's fine with me.
How do we highlight that? Can we star that? Let's star that.
I'm not getting any of it, so what do I care?
I mean, you will if we sell it. I'd send you money from the sponsorship money. Do I not?
Yes.
Okay. Football. Let's start with recruiting a little bit. If you want to go in great detail on this list, BearcatJournal.com, where right now 60% off a year of Sir Bear does not agree. Bear thinks
it should be more off.
No, he thinks it's less. That's taking money out of Daddy's pocket. He is not happy about it, but 60% off right now. Junior Day this weekend, Saturday. Dave, that's a pretty impressive list.
There's a lot of star power on that list.
It looks a lot different than many of the other Junior Day lists from the past, right? Especially considering 2 weeks ago they had their local Junior Day with the 12 Cincinnati guys at the top of their board. This is guys from a little bit of everywhere. And
I imagine that list
a lot more kids are answering the
growing phone as well, I'm sure.
Probably.
I saw a couple Martin Luther King, Detroit, Michigan, Sauce Gardner alma mater offers go out tonight. Maybe those guys end up getting added. But
I do want to talk about Michigan, the state of Michigan, real quick.
How we don't give a damn about it.
Well, that, but also, it's amazing how much one kid like Sauce can all of a sudden take an entire state, and now everybody in Michigan's Cincinnati, huh?
Well, that's your foot in the door.
Yeah. It's just so crazy, like, building a pipeline. Some of it is like just constant grinding and work, and building relationships. And then other times it's you hit on a kid that was a low, middle 3-star that turns into a top 15 NFL talent that just happens to be beloved in his home state. And now every kid in the home state wants to go to Cincinnati and be Sauce.
Definitely helps. I mean, it gives you the opportunity to keep going back. I guess I look at it as like it's your way to keep going back to, especially that school, but the area in general, because the Detroit, specifically with like Sound Mind, Sound Body, and some other camp circuits, tough stuff like that, like they do a really good job of getting their kids exposure.
Yes.
So you go up there and you keep going up there, and you got Ahmad, and it gave you a reason to keep going up there every chance you had, because you don't just get a kid from a school and then only go there when you think they have kids that, are of his level. You keep going to keep that relationship. And then when he is successful, those kids, when they see you, you're not just, oh, well, Cincinnati came in today too, because so did Ohio State, so did Michigan. You're not one of 10 schools that came in. You are, Cincinnati came in, and I know what they did with Sauce, and I want that same experience.
Yeah.
So, we'll see if that turns into more guys, but it certainly is not going to hurt. I mean, you offer the best ones. They know the deal. They know what he was able to do. You use that to your advantage.
Without giving away the list, BearcatJournal.com. You can get that on the Carson Field message board. Was there anybody when you saw that list that you were like, oh, how about that?
I have not dug into it too deep yet, but there's another Michigan kid on there. What's his name? Ahmad Herring, offensive lineman.
Yeah.
This is the second or third time he'll have been on campus. I think he was at least one game. So, it's interesting to see that, because I think there's a lot of belief that he's a Michigan or a Michigan State kid, but anybody can come to campus to go for an unofficial visit for a football game. Like, who the hell wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah, especially the way that things were this past year
Right.
in Cincinnati.
It's another thing altogether if you're going to get in your car on a Saturday morning and drive 5.5 hours
right
to come hang out in Cincinnati for the afternoon and then turn around and go back.
That's a little different level of commitment to the cause.
Right. Like, if you're really probably just going to Michigan or Michigan State, like, you're like, nah, I'm not really feeling it. Like,
right.
I know I could go down and I know I'd probably have fun and I like the coaches and I like the team and I like the other recruits, but like, I'm probably not going to go there. So I'm not going to, as a 17 or 18-year-old, 16-year-old, whatever these kids are, I'm not going to spend my Saturday in a car most of the day driving down to Ohio.
And then driving back.
Right. So it's, those are the type of situations that I kind of look for is, who else is recruiting this kid? And where's he coming from that you're like, okay, this kid's serious? How serious?
It's a big-time running back from Florida coming
Yeah,
up.
I noticed that as well.
4-star running backs from Florida coming up to Cincinnati in January. I don't know if that's a great idea.
Well, it's, some of them, they like it. They like the idea.
Yeah, I trust the sanity of those kids.
I feel like I saw a a Lake Wales kid on there too. Isn't that where Norman Love was from?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I thought I saw a Florida either that we had offered recently or maybe was on that list that Mick put out. But
That was Norman Love was unfortunate
yeah,
because that kid's video before he blew out his knee was electric, and he got up here and his gait was so bad from I guess how bad they messed up his surgery, his ACL surgery. Like you almost looked at him and went, "How are you the kid from the tape?"
right.
Like that's how bad they screwed up that poor kid's knee.
Or the rehab was bad.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it was probably a combination of both. But I'm pretty sure it was like they went in and they butchered it, and the kid just never got right.
What since we brought up an offensive lineman, have you had a chance to hear anything about the new offensive line coach? And there's been
Not a ton yet. They're out on the road.
Well, that's what I mean. Just from you can't read too much into.
He likes them big. We know
January
that
offers, but they're the offers are coming out for offensive linemen, and they're going to 4 stars that are like 6'5", 310.
Well, he likes. We're seeing 6'6", 6'7". Like he likes big tackles, like Sean Huey. Not like the 6'5" kind of tweeners. That's not really his style. He likes the big boys. So I know that's kind of one of his things. And we saw that when he was at UConn. Remember those 14, 15, 16, those UConn lines were gigantic. Like every dude was 6'6", 310 pounds minimum. So I think that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of like 6'3", 6'4" anymore. It's 6'5" and like 6'5", and we've already kind of started that trend.
Well,
Like
his
6'5"
his dude from Austria that's going to be a first rounder is 6'7", 310.
Yeah, and that's exactly my point. Fisher was big too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he clearly likes height. Like he values height and length, because generally when you're getting those dudes 6'6", 6'7", you're also dealing with a much larger wingspan as well. Hopefully we're getting him Tuesday, I think, for a press conference, or like getting all the new coaches Tuesday.
Is that
so? Hopefully
February,
I can get
February 1st. Yeah.
2nd. Tuesday's the 2nd, right?
No.
Okay, so we're getting them Wednesday the 2nd.
Wednesday's the 2nd.
Yeah. That's signing, of course. Wednesday signing day.
Yeah. Any surprises?
No. No surprises. So hopefully I can get him in like a one-on-one situation and get some thoughts on like O-line philosophy or recruiting philosophy, like what he's looking for. That's my plan. We'll see how it works out. But yeah, I think that's about where we're at. Like 2022 high school, they didn't find anything they wanted. They looked and searched, and if we see any more additions through the spring and summer, my expectation is their transfer portal. I guess you could see a late high school kid pop up that they would have some interest in. Had a lot of questions about Cam Butler from Miami, who's in the transfer portal, who kind of fit that rush end mold. But I think the concern with Cam was he only had 1 year left. I think if they're dipping in for that, they don't want a stopgap fix there. They want, somebody that's going to be here for a couple of years. But I think that's about all. You got anything else recruiting wise you want to chat about this week?
That stinks for Miami. Like all their good players are leaving.
Yeah, that's a weird spot for them. Because it's a lot of guys like in, fourth year, fifth year, grad transfer type guys that are just like, all right, I'm going to go. But I guess that's life in the MAC now, right? Like you develop these guys for 3-4 years, and then.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Did you happen to see the Athletic article today? I think David Ubben wrote it kind of about the portal. Just talking to sounded like a lot of disgruntled G5 coaches, just kind of about how it's all going down and tampering. And there was one story about some running back that rushed for over 1,000 yards, and some coach called him and told him he could, his NL ideal could be in the $200,000 range, and the kid wasn't even in the transfer portal yet. It was interesting, but I wish you could find out how many of these coaches that are mad about how it's going down are coaching at really good teams.
Right.
Or how many of them are just mad that we're not very good and they're picking off our best players.
Yeah. I mean, but I get why you would be mad. Your job still relies on winning games, right? And if you get to the end of the season and all your best players leave,
they're making it sound like then that they shouldn't be able to leave.
Oh no, they're going to be able to leave.
There was one thing I do kind of agree with that was kind of brought up, and I do think there needs to be some level of governance to it, not necessarily by the NCAA or anything, but the conferences kind of need to come together and it's good that it's an option, but it also needs to, I think, be some guardrails. For 2 months, maybe after, at 2 different times during the year, maybe right after the season, that's when you should be able to go into the portal. Should it be a year-round thing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of how soccer or whatever does it, right? There's a transfer window.
I have no idea how soccer does anything.
Well, I think that's what they do is there's you can transfer between this and this.
Right. I'm all for it, but I do kind of understand when you're a coach or a recruiting department, it makes I'm not feeling pity for most of these people. I mean, they're making, hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars. I'm
not at the G5 level, they're not.
No, right, exactly. And not in the recruiting departments at most of these schools either.
Some of them are making much more now than they used to be. Let's say that.
But should there be some level of, restriction on when you can do it? And it's not just a free-for-all 365 days out of the year.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can't really do it in season, right?
I mean, you can. You can go.
You're not eligible.
Right. You're not leaving and then 2 weeks later suiting up for another school.
It's not complete free agency.
But you can still I'm entering the portal.
Yeah.
And you're down a. I mean, I guess you could do. You could just stop going to practice or whatever. It wouldn't be any different than that. I don't know how that works with your scholarship and things of that nature.
Just quit.
Right. But, it does, I don't know, it has to be difficult for a lot of these places where you're just sitting there almost praying that you don't get a text from someone oh, so-and-so's in the portal. Because now at this point, using Miami as an example, they're not replacing Cam Butler.
No.
They were counting on him to be the best player on their defense next year. But now
him and Ivan Pace.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at least Ivan did it right after their bowl game.
Yeah.
This is now, how a month and a half later or a month later.
Not ideal. I would guess that's one you weren't anticipating, right? If it's a month later and all of a sudden.
Right. You would think okay, season's over. I'll have the talks with all the dudes. That's where you wonder if you start to wonder if people get in guys' ears.
Well, yeah, look at the offers he got as soon as
Right,
he
like a month later, all of a sudden, Penn State's like, "Hey, man, we could use you because we realized we didn't get the guys that we were hoping to get that were in the portal."
right.
Like, I don't know. I mean, part of me just says I don't really care because, like, I don't really care. Like, that's the way. I mean, let's not pretend that this stuff wasn't happening before the portal.
Right. It was.
But it is just, it does. It sucks. Like, I don't, get for the fans especially, but for the coaches too. I mean, you're losing you lose your best players. But I also look at it as, at a UC, guys are leaving because they want opportunities, and that happens everywhere. But, no one's like, how the structure is and how the culture is, that you're really not going to see stuff like that.
Right.
Like, dudes aren't calling tampering with, I wouldn't think, with Luke's guys, because those guys are going to go tell him what's up.
Right.
If it's somebody that, I'm not saying he doesn't, but if it's someone vital to like a Cam Butler equivalent to UC, I don't think that's happening to UC's players.
Right. Talk some football.
Collegiate or professional?
Collegiate for now.
Sure.
Aaron on it. Look at that. Look at the timestamp master.
This is why this is the sponsor we could be getting their money's worth tonight.
I know.
All over it.
Impressed, Aaron. Great work. Proud of you. My defensive two deep is done. It'll go up tomorrow.
How'd that go?
I can tell you, talk to a lot of people, and outside of corner, I think the staff is pretty confident in their starters and like where the defense is going to be in terms of like the ones, right? But the 1Bs, which are probably going to be more like 2s this year, good luck figuring it out.
Yeah.
I mean, in most of the, let's see. Defensive line, I listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys as like potential two deep guys. And that's behind Malik Van, Jawan Briggs, and Jabari Taylor. Linebacker, 4, could be 5 backups for 3 spots. Safety, 3 guys that could be backup for 2 spots. And corner, right now, throw names in a hat. And we've talked about this, some as the offseason has started to unfold. But not only is there a lot of like unknown, but you got to kind of feel good that there's a lot of opportunity for some dudes that I think this staff feels like are really talented, that are just waiting to see like what it looks like when they start getting actual live reps, when bullets start flying.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of guys, whether it was at higher ground or throughout the year, where in very limited reps, you can tell that there's ability, but you're excited to see it on a more day in, day out, 45, 50, 60, whatever the number is in practice snaps versus 5 or 10 that they were getting before in a season when you're game planning and you're scout teaming. Like, spring practice will be much different than anything that these guys have really had a chance to go through besides last year at higher ground.
Yeah. Anybody in those backup groups that without knowing my list, but I'm sure it's not hard to figure out. Anybody in those backup groups that you're overly excited to get a look at?
I think I'm most excited to see how safety shakes out, because I like what I've seen from 3, what I would assume, participants have been.
Who are you excited about?
Threats, Isaiah Cox, and
Armorian Smith.
Yes.
I think Threats is clearly the leader in the clubhouse of that group. Now, you're still Javon Hicks is going to be there as a starter for sure. And Jacob Dingle has been on the 2 deep for 2 years. So somebody's going to have to beat him out. If anybody, I think right now we're leaning towards that would be Threats, right? Just he got
I would say
a ton of time on special teams.
Right. If you just go off of the season, sure. I would lay a small wager on Isaiah Cox when September rolls around.
I don't know that Isaiah Cox would be a boundary safety.
You think
he looks like he's more of a
Hicks?
field with Hicks? Yeah, I think he would be kind of that rangy play in space. Yeah. Like, I don't know that from your it's funny because safety kind of flips corner, right? Like corner, the responsibility is on the boundary. The field is the secondary guy, where it's safety, it flips because the field safety has a lot more ground to cover.
Right. And your tight end is usually on the other side.
And your boundary safety tends to be more of a like come up and hit you physical because they're playing on the short side of the field. I don't know that he is, I don't know that he's a boundary safety more than he's a field safety.
Sure.
So that would be, physically, like Isaiah Cox looks the part as much as anybody. I think Armorian Smith is very interesting. Physical. And there might be a sleeper in there that maybe I'll go back and add. Because I saw him flash a little bit towards the end of the year in practices and in the bowl practices. A kid that we've completely forgotten about. Who's one of the highest rated kids in his class.
Diari McDonald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a physically gifted kid. What if given more opportunities and, not on the scout team and gets a chance to fight for real playing time, you see him kind of surface.
I would hope so.
Yeah. If not, I'm probably looking at the portal for him in the spring.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to get passed by three redshirt freshmen, then it's probably time to look somewhere else. That's just the reality of college football right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll see. I'm not going to guess at the number, but I would say it's going to be more than one portal.
Yeah.
Participant after spring practice.
There's one guy that from talking to my sources that kind of, I get it. I see where they're coming from, but hearing and talking to people made me even more excited. They're chomping at the bit on Leroy Bowers.
That's what
try to find a way.
I heard you mention, was it Monday? Maybe.
Yeah.
He came up.
They're chomping at the bit to find a way to get Leroy Bowers on the field.
They can do it without something happening to the other two guys. That would be impressive for him.
Well, I mean, he's actually got some size where I think you could move him around and you don't have to just play him at sniper. I don't know if you want him being your physical guy in the middle, but if you want to play him on the weak side, because here's what I think is going to be interesting at linebacker. I think that's where a lot of the pressure is going to have to come from.
Yeah,
way more so than in the past couple of years with Majay, right? because you knew with Majay you were going to get an outstanding win rate on pressure.
That makes it harder to see, though. That makes it harder to play. I don't know. To me, that makes it harder to play the what we have learned as like their traditional 3-3-5.
And maybe because of the personnel, we see some variations on the 3-3-5. You know, but maybe
like, if you do that, then and you're bringing that guy down as like a hang position, and he's almost always bringing pressure, then that leaves you pretty susceptible, I think, to the run games. You know,
at times, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see as they, filter through what they have. Like, here's an interesting question for you.
Sure.
You think Deshaun Pace could handle being a nickel? If you schemed it to where maybe you're almost in a 3-4.
I mean,
but
to me,
do you want to cover in a slot? No,
but I mean, there's different sides to that, though. I mean, is he what side of the 3-4? Is he your?
Well, he'd be strong. A nickel would be strong, generally strong side.
But then then to me it is a way. Like, I would put him in a position to go after the passer before I'd put him in a position in a 3-4. I want him rushing the passer more than I would wanting him in coverage.
But maybe you see more zone out of it.
I mean,
they take it and they turn it more zone.
I mean, if you feel like you're not going to have that Majay type rush end, then I would. So
you go 3-4 blitz pack.
I would play
zone
more
blitz.
I would play more 3-4. I would just disguise more of my blitzes with my 4 linebackers, A gap, double A gap, crossers, a lot of twists, a lot of stunts, overloading one side, dropping guys from the other side, just much more confusion, much more. And now, granted, that's a lot more on the plate of the defensive players too.
Yeah.
But I think that's how you try to make up for not having someone on the edge that is a focal point of the offense, whether,
and also not having a man up, a press man corner, at
exactly,
least right now.
Exactly. You can't just have quarterbacks sitting back there this year knowing that, I guess today knowing, who knows, we could get somebody in here that is a terror at defensive end. Surprises. But as of today, like, if they don't go, like, Majay's numbers weren't the thing. I mean, they still had to worry about him on every play.
Right.
And then you're worrying about him, and you got 2 really good corners. Well, now we don't know anything about the corners, and we don't know anything about that position. So
I think we do know about that position, but what we know is it's going to be power over speed.
Sure. So yeah, I mean, these are quite, these are things I would love to talk to coaches about, but I would.
They're not going to tell you.
No. Luke might when we chop it up with him at the 50-yard line at some of these camps.
Well, yeah, if we don't have a camera running, he might.
Right.
If there's a recorder in his face, they're not telling us shit.
No. But it is. It's. I mean, that's. But you also have to feel like you have the personnel to do it. You're not going to square peg, round hole it.
Sure.
So. But that does come to mind for me as far as, like, I look at both paces in similar veins of, I just think, yes, well, I feel like making opponents process plays quicker will help some of our deficiencies. Whereas before,
it didn't matter how
before they had to process the play quickly because they knew that guy's not going to be open. So I've got to get to read 2, read 3, and by the time I get to read 3, I'm probably dead because Maije or Beavers or somebody else has gotten to me. So that they're processing it quickly that way. This year we have to make them process it quickly by confusion.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have two guys likely at Mike at middle linebacker that are blitzers, Huber and Pace. Like,
yeah,
if you look at the analytics on Pace, like that's when he was at his best was rushing the passer. Now he made a ton of tackles, and that's not to say he didn't have other parts of his game at Miami that were good, but the parts that were the best.
Uh-oh, Aaron, get on it, Aaron. Go, we're being inundated.
Aaron. Yikes.
Oh, he's back.
I thought he was blocked.
Only for 5 minutes, it says.
Usually they'll find somewhere else.
But yeah, it's it'll be, again, just another thing to look at spring practice.
Yeah, everybody's going to be watching quarterback. I'm going to be watching corner. Like that, to me, corner is fascinating. I just, there's only one guy you know for sure, and there's no indication of where he's going to play. Is nickel his best spot? Do you move him to field? I mean, I guess the safe play would be you move Bush to field to replace Kobe.
No, the safe play is Bush stays at nickel because the two next guys at field and boundary are good.
Well, I'm talking about experience here. Taj Ward at nickel and Bush at field would give you two guys that have played a lot of snaps.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to get from them. Is what you're going to get from them good enough or elite enough? Or do you leave Taj, or do you leave Arquan at nickel and you see what you've got on the outside between Jaquan Shepard, Sammy Anderson, Todd Bumpus, Justin Harris, J.Q. Hardaway. Like, you've still got talent. You just have no reps.
Right.
Because who were you putting – at what point were you taking Sauce and Kobe off the field the last 2 years?
Well, see, the thing is, you'll be able to watch quarterbacks by watching defensive backs.
Yeah. But my eyes are going to be on the DBs. Because you're going to have to watch. Like, can they play press? Can they, like, what is it like when they go up and try to be physical? What is it like when they play off? Like,
I feel like if they do that, there'll be a lot of penalty flags in spring practice.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the beauty of Ahmad, right? Especially as you got into year 2 and year 3. Early in his career, there were some.
You just have to get the reps to learn. But like, if you're going to press, guys are going to grab because they're going to be afraid to get run by.
Yeah,
and it's just a process of getting over that and trusting your technique and everything.
And there's not going to be a lot of trust there yet because those guys haven't really played. I mean,
they're going to be going up against some pretty good receivers too.
Yeah. Like Jaquan Shepard's fascinating to me because he has been the backup to Sauce for 2 years, but we've never seen it. And when the chips were on the table in the Peach Bowl, we didn't see Jaquan Shepard. We saw Arquan Bush move out to boundary. Taj Ward moved to nickel, and that's what they ran with. There's just so much unknown there. Like, at least at defensive line, Van, Briggs, Taylor, you know those three guys can play. You know, I almost made this argument in my article. Sauce was the most dominant, obviously. Was sniper the second most dominant position on the team last year? When you look at Deshaun Pace had 95 tackles, Ty Van Fossen had 70. They had 165 tackles out of two guys at one position.
I think Curtis Brooks was more dominant.
Yeah, but that didn't start until the back half of the season. First half of the season, he
was good. He was good. Yeah,
he was okay.
He was
the first half of the season. The second half of the season, he was dominant.
Where is UCF? First or second half?
It's right on that, right on that cut line, right?
He was good against Notre Dame too.
Yeah, man, 165 tackles for one position, Dave.
They should be getting the tackles. They're playing in the middle of the linebacker.
No, that's a strong side, coverage. Like you're asking, you're not. That position is not at the line of scrimmage the whole game. Like they're not just standing there at the point of attack and playing downhill. They're in space. They got multiple assignments to execute,
right.
and still 165 tackles at one position. That's a lot of fucking tackles, Dave.
Yes.
I don't know. It just like when you start looking at it, it was 165 tackles. It's 16 and a half tackles for loss. They had 4 interceptions. Like they got a lot out of the dollar/sniper position last year. And you got both of them coming back. You're going to be leaning on Ty Van Fossen and Deshaun Pace in 2022.
Sure.
Who's your MVP of the defense? And one of the people I was talking to pointed this out and talking about like NFL prospects and who's gonna jump off the page off this defense. Nobody had Brian Cook as a NFL guy really a year ago.
No,
there were some people that looked at the Peach Bowl and went, "Huh, pretty good." Nobody really had Kobe on draft boards, which is, I would guess, part of a big reason why he came back, because he wanted to increase his stock. Beavers wasn't really anywhere to be found. I mean, I'm guessing, I don't know if Curtis will get drafted, but Curtis is going to find his way.
I feel like Curtis
into
will
a camp and onto a roster.
Will be in the Elijah Ponder mold.
Somebody's going to make him a linebacker?
No, I just mean like an undrafted guy
that finds his way.
But like kind of like practice squad, practice, stuff like that.
Yeah. Not
like in the position or like it is hard to find. I mean, he's not he's not from a size standpoint, like he's not a true nose, but like
no, he's not anymore. Those guys in the NFL are 340 pounds.
It's still hard to find like good defensive tackles. I mean,
I could see him in a 4-3 as a really good 3 tech.
Yeah.
Who do you think of this group we're going to be talking about at the end of next year? Like, man, they took a huge jump.
Oh, I couldn't. I mean, I don't think I could even like.
Malik, Jawan, Jabari, Jaheim Thomas, Wilson Huber.
I don't think I can.
Javon Hicks.
I think I know too much about them to say like they're going to take a huge jump.
No, I don't think so, because at this point in time last year, like I just said, we weren't talking like Brian Cook wasn't a mid-round NFL pick at this point in time last year. I mean, like Darian Beavers wasn't a mid-round potential NFL pick last year.
I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see that from any of those guys.
Did you see it in the guys we just mentioned?
From a prototype standpoint, sure. I just needed to see the play. I don't see it from a prototype standpoint on.
I talked to somebody that thought at this point in time a year ago, if compared, Javon Hicks is farther along than Brian Cook was at this point in time last year.
I mean, I don't.
Now, Brian Cook is an absolute animal. So that's a little bit different, right?
Well, it's just. I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to how I am with the NFL and the draft and everything. Like, I don't see that in. And I hope I'm proven wrong. I just don't see that in this group like we had last year.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's not the absolute star power.
It's not even to me. It's like not even so much that. It's like I just look at guys and I go, well, where do they fit in at the next level? Like Beavers didn't. He came back for a reason, but like I was like, yeah, that's a 3-4 outside linebacker. Now he's got to put the production behind it,
right,
and keep progressing. But like that's a dude. Like that guy plays for the Steelers or the Patriots. Like, not saying he will play one down in the NFL, but like you look at him and you go, that's a James Harrison. That's the type of player that they look for.
Yeah.
Maje was the prototype rush end. Sauce, 6'3", lockdown corner. I don't see that right now with the guys that are coming back. They're very, very good players. They're very, very good college players. But I mean, someone tell me where I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Who I'm wrong with.
I think if you want to talk about an Elijah Ponder, I think Jabari Taylor can be an Elijah Ponder.
Yeah. I'd have to see
because
him
remember,
more.
Elijah was a guy that was stuck behind a bunch of other dudes.
I want to see him in more of a feature role this year to really get an idea of his like speed, pass rushing ability.
Yeah. Ponder didn't have a lot of that either, though. He was a perfect complement to Maje as the run-stopping end.
Yeah, those guys don't exist anymore in the NFL. You got to get to the quarterback. I mean, even the quote-unquote strong side defensive end in a four-man front has to be able to, like Sam Hubbard. No one's talking about if Sam Hubbard sets the edge and stops the run. They got to get to the quarterback.
You just compared somebody's NFL prospects to Elijah Ponder, and then when I did it, you said, that's not how it works.
No, I'm just saying from a pass rush standpoint. That's the part I want to see. I didn't say that.
You did.
No.
You used Elijah Ponder as an example, and then when I used Elijah Ponder as an example,
I used him as an example of not getting drafted, but being on a roster. That's what I said.
Yeah, I'm comparing Jabari to that.
Right.
That's
and
fair. If you can do it, I can do it.
And I said I want to see his pass rush.
I just think like with him, that's a guy he started inside like Elijah did. When they went to the 3-3-5, Ponder moved outside. Jabari did that last year, but because of Malik and Jawan and Maje, didn't really get that like true starter reps.
Right.
I think there's obviously going to be kind of a desperate need for pass rush from the D line. So, and maybe it's Briggs. Like Briggs as an NFL nose tackle isn't a far-flung thought.
No.
Where was he really good at Virginia playing nose? And
I like Briggs as your 3.
And you're moving Jabari inside?
I mean in a 4-man,
they're not playing 4-man.
From an NFL standpoint.
Yeah, okay.
No, they don't have the quantities to play 4-man.
Maybe you've got Eric Phillips, who I think is going to move outside. We talked about that last year. I think when he willingly ate a tapeworm and saw 50 pounds disappear between spring football.
You have your to go 4-man. That means you need even more.
I only named one name.
Right, but you have no depth.
And you cut me off. You have Phillips, you have Justin Watley, you have Dante Corleone, you have Dominique Perry, who's a guy that has caught our eye on multiple occasions. You have Rob Jackson. I'm interested to see where Jamal Williams is, because I think he can be that twitchy edge rusher, but I don't know physically if he's there yet. Right now, I'm really interested to see where Brady has him, as we're going into spring football. What can he do to that kid in winter workouts? I think there's numbers. There's decent numbers in terms of they've recruited a bunch of defensive linemen. We just need to find out if they're any good or not.
Right. I'd rather go heavy with my linebacker group. I know more about them.
Okay. I don't hate. Well, not really. Don't know a ton about Huber. He hasn't played a ton.
I know
James Thomas has hardly played.
I know more about Huber than the 4th or 5th defensive lineman.
We know quite a bit about Eric Phillips. Eric Phillips was in the rotation regularly pretty much last year. I think he passed Marcus Brown towards the end of the year.
No.
He was playing about as much as Marcus was. You don't have faith in the Godfather.
I don't have faith. This isn't a faith-based organization.
You don't believe in the Godfather, Dave?
I would like to see the Godfather play first. You're not Italian. You're not allowed to make that hand gesture.
I'm German. I thought this was the hand gesture I'm not allowed to make.
Yeah, that one or this one.
those two. Those are the two that are off limits. I don't know. It's going to be. We're going to be arguing about this a lot over the next 6 months because there's just so many different.
Than last off season, that's for sure.
Yeah. Timestamp.
That'll get him skipping right to the 127 mark.
Yep. If your company was the sponsor of the timestamps, that would be a bonus timestamp. All right. Before we get out of here, go ahead and stamp this UC football, Aaron. We'll let Dave give his AFC since we're broaching into Bengals and Reds and having some other stuff on the site. We will always keep it at the end. So if you don't want to hear it, you don't have to. You can stop right now if you want to. But thanks to Home Field Apparel, homefieldapparel.com, Bearcat Journal, code Bearcat Journal, get 15% off. Huge opening day on Saturday, big new Saturday. Quite a collection. You got the 61-62 championship shirt. I know you were very happy with.
I did.
I am going to turn it over to you to break down the AFC Championship game.
Breakdown. I don't know how much breakdown I'll give. But
I'm going to turn it over to you to give your thoughts on the AFC Championship game on Sunday.
Well, my first thought is that part of me is still like, I can't believe this is happening.
It's real. Is this real life?
It's just so like I was in Nashville, and the Raiders game was like a release.
Right.
Finally, they won a playoff
It was
game
at home.
since I was, whatever it was, 9, 10 years old. So it's like, that was the whole, like, okay, finally, that's all over with. Saturday was more surreal to me because it wasn't that they beat the Titans. It was, holy shit, they're one game away from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I was like uber confident they were going to beat the Titans because Ryan Tannehill sucks. And that's all I needed to know going into the game. And he proved me very, very right. But now, like, I've been like, the week has been felt normal. It hasn't been like one of those weeks where you're like, oh my God, it's never going to get here. Like, it's felt normal.
Is that because, I guess here's the question, Dave. Is that because you're confident that they're going to beat the Chiefs, or is it because it's just house money now?
I think it's both. Like, I am confident that they're going to win, but because they're not like, no one's truly expecting them to. Like, you get nervous and you get worried when you're the favorite, or like you're in the tough spot. And like, I honestly think they're going to win, and it has really nothing to do with any analysis or X's and O type thing. I think they're going to win because this team is just different than really any Bengals team that I've ever seen.
To combat that, wouldn't you say the same about the Chiefs if you were a Chiefs fan after watching them?
If I'm a Chiefs fan, I think this is gonna be easy.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fair. But when it gets to game time, that's what I think, when you get to be like, because then you're like, we better fucking win. So,
yeah.
But I just don't know. I just get this weird, and they might lose 35-17 because all the things that the Chiefs are great at, they are great at on Sunday, and the Bengals continue to struggle to score touchdowns against, like they have the last 2 weeks. But it'll be interesting from the Chiefs' standpoint. Like, their defensive coordinator likes to blitz, likes to play press man. That is his personality. And you can say, we've got to play more zone, or we've got to
3rd and Tenuta,
and we've got to do this, and we can't let Jamar Chase, kill us again. But when it comes down to it, like, are you mentally, personality-wise, able to call a game that goes against the way that you've coached your entire coaching career?
Which is fair.
I don't know. Obviously, I don't know the answer to that.
I'm sure there's examples of them doing it in the past where, he's backed off a little bit, taking his foot off the gas.
But if they were really good at it, they would do it more often, I guess, is my thing.
Not if it's not his personality. Like, I'm sure if it's not his personality, he only does it when he has to, like, when it's absolutely necessary. You know what I mean?
Well, they didn't do it at any point in time in the game on the game 3 weeks ago, or whatever that was, 4 weeks ago, even though Jamar was killing them the whole time. But I don't think the line is going to be as big of an issue as it was against the Titans.
Yeah, they don't have that type of pass rush.
Well, and how many times do you see, a collective play like that? Like, a couple of the sacks were on Burrow. Akeem Adeniji, excuse me, hold on,
was awful.
Holy cow, was he bad?
How many? There were at least 4 times where there was video of him just standing there while his guy was hitting Burrow.
Well, there was at least once or twice where he's just standing there, and then there's once or twice where it was like he was getting hit by a semi-truck. He was moving backwards so fast.
Yeah, I guess I just coupled those into one terrible memory.
You would think that that's not going to happen to that level again. You try to fix some of the things that were the issues. And it'll just be interesting if the Chiefs try to replicate the Titans and Raiders from a rush for play coverage standpoint.
Right.
Dare the Bengals to run, because they have not really ran the ball well, even against those situations.
They have not been good in the light box, which is
for about the last 6-7 games, not just in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But how do you go against Joe Burrow?
That's where really all of this stems from, right? Is you just believe Joe Burrow will find a way.
I mean,
I'm not saying you're wrong.
No, I know.
I'm saying that's where your belief stems from.
Can you blame me?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying your belief is Joe is going to find a way.
Yeah, I mean, from college to now, he's never lost a gotta-have-it game.
Yeah, I would also say the Chiefs fans probably feel the same way, because Patrick Mahomes is pretty good in those games too.
He has, but they have weirdly, not this playoff. I mean, actually, technically, yes, even to the Steelers, but it was only like 7-0. But the year they won the Super Bowl, they were down double digits in every playoff game and the Super Bowl, and then won every playoff game in the Super Bowl by double digits.
That's why you believe in Patrick Mahomes.
It is, but if you get down like that to Jesus Christ himself, that changes things.
Now Joe Burrow is Jesus Christ himself.
Well, he was defeated last year, and he was with his knee injury, and then he was resurrected. So literally, yeah.
Oh man,
you like that one, huh?
I apologize for the level of blasphemy and coughing in this last 10 minutes. Good Lord.
Jesus.
Yes.
Dave is the one who's been battling a coughing fit. I wasn't coughing.
In church.
He's been resurrected.
I wasn't coughing until Dave made me lose my shit by saying Joe Burrow's knee injury was him dying and being resurrected.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God. This is why we don't do a Bengals podcast.
You like
okay, I'll ask you the same thing I asked there that we talked about on PTP on Tuesday night. What do you take from only allowing 3 points in the second half to Kansas City in the regular season game? Nothing?
Unfortunately, not much.
Okay.
Because
they stopped Tyreek Hill. They stopped Travis Kelce. Those two did not hurt the Bengals in that game.
Oh, no. And that's why I don't take much, because I find it hard to believe that the team that can't cover tight ends is going to just shut the best tight end in the league down to 2 games in a row.
That's fair.
I mean, he had 5 catches for 25 yards. I mean, he did have a touchdown, but
he was a non-factor.
And Hill had 60-something yards receiving.
Yeah.
So, Hill to me is more stoppable. Maybe I'll regret saying that, but
the problem with Hill is the problem you have with Jamar Chase is all it takes is one crease, and a 60-yard day turns into a 180-yard day.
For sure, I just think they've been much better, whether it's Cheeto or the every other game of Eli Apple and Mike Hilton, better with receivers than tight ends. And I just if you're going to tell me that Kelsey's going to have another sub 50-yard game, I'm going to feel real good about their chances.
All right.
They've also been running the ball very well, which the Bengals will need to have a similar.
Jerick McKinnon, like when it actually Edwards-Helaire going down kind of helped them because McKinnon has had a chance to like really kind of come on over the past couple weeks.
They got sneaky yards last week from Mahomes, but they ran for 180.
Yeah. Well, he had 70, right?
He had like 62.
Yeah, so they ran for 100 without him.
Yeah.
With him, they ran for a lot.
Which, that's it. I mean, he's gotten a lot better because his issue at the beginning of the year was cover 2. Willingness to take the underneath stuff. He's gotten a lot better of his big way to kill you is he did it a couple times to the Bengals, just stepping up in the middle of the pocket and then
hitting down the field,
throwing, and we saw that you turn around and he's willing to run.
He runs more in the playoffs.
Saw that a lot more in the Buffalo game, but I don't know what the Bills were doing defensively, so I don't think the Bengals will do that either.
That's also the best defense in the NFL.
I know. That's why I'm really confused on what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
So TJ Houshmandzadeh was on a podcast where he brought up that he doesn't think they should have played any linemen trying to blitz at Patrick Mahomes on that final play. He said that they all should have fallen back to where you had 11 in coverage. Do you think that would have worked to stop him?
No, they absolutely should have blitzed him more.
So exactly the opposite of TJ.
Yes, because what they like, either those players, like if you drop guys and like they had linebackers on the field.
He said you should have put 3 linebackers on the defensive line and had them just play off because Patrick Mahomes had to throw it quick with the time limit that you had, and that you can't throw it quick when you have 11 people in coverage.
I don't.
You probably don't have a play really worked on
I
to
still
do
don't
that though
like.
either.
I don't understand. Like you just have wasted players on the like. What? I mean, they should have just. They should have just not let Travis Kelce get a free release, which is just like basic how to cover a tight end stuff, regardless of what point of the game you're at. Like whether it's the first quarter or the last play of the game, no one's ever going to go, you know what? That guy that's like one of the best tight ends to ever play the game, we're just going to let him run down the field without anybody getting in his way. Like that's not a thing you just think of at the end of the game. Like you do that on every play.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I don't know what that would have. I mean, I guess if you're saying that would have like muddled the like 10 to 15 yard area,
the passing lanes, yeah,
and he wouldn't have been like, I don't know, but he's still going to throw the ball. Like so, you have a bunch of guys playing in space that they're not used to playing in. That he's still going to have to throw it to somebody.
Right. It's just interesting.
I think there's when something like that happens, there's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking going on, which is what we're doing too. But I think sometimes ex-athletes get these ideas of like, oh, they should have done this, and it's like you realize like no one in the history of the sport has done what you're suggesting that they do, and there's probably a reason for it.
Yeah.
Fair.
What's your final score?
I did have some people in the Twitter being like, you haven't missed a game in like 2 years. What do you think is going to happen, or how are you getting to the game? Since I'm 13-1 in games that I've attended this year, with my lone loss being the Cotton Bowl.
We don't need you to be there. We need you to predict.
Well, but
you haven't predicted a game wrong since 2019.
I know. I also haven't only lost one game that I've attended this year.
That's recency bias.
That's 14 games worth of data. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but you lost your last, like the second to last game.
No, I went to the Raiders and the Titans.
You lost the third to the last game you attended. My bad.
A prediction. 37. No, that doesn't work.
Everything works.
No, but I'm just like, I feel like 37. 38-34.
Is it a last second touchdown, late touchdown, the Bengals win? How do we get to 38? Like how do we get to this? Because we have seen if Kansas City has a nanosecond, there's a chance that you're still going to lose.
38-27 Chiefs touchdown, onside kick, Bengals recover, victory formation.
Oh, so the Bengals dominate the game.
I don't know if I say dominate.
They're up by 2 touchdowns. They're up by 11 points at the end.
No, I'm just making that up. 99-yard interception return for a touchdown.
You're not taking this exercise serious, Dave.
No, I'm not. No, the easy one would be, Jamar Chase touchdown, like a minute left, defense, holds them out or whatever. But no, I just think it'll kind of be like a normalish ending. I don't know, like no theatrics.
Have you not watched these two teams play for the past month and a half?
That's why you gotta go back to the mean.
I'm starting to question your credits as an analyst.
No, you had like a super boring wild card round where most of the games were blowouts. Then you had the
Bengals had an interception
at the end of the game. But 4 of the games of the 6 games were not close.
Well, the Chiefs weren't involved in that. Like,
What do you want me to say? No, it's like
all right.
The real good one would be like 10-6.
10-6, yeah. 14-12. Bengals win.
Yeah, 14-13. Just real humdinger, but
17-14.
If the Bills had won, I'd feel even more confident because we'd have a rematch.
You would be there.
Well, we'd have a rematch of the 1988 AFC Championship with the possibility of playing the 49ers in the Super Bowl.
And you'd be there.
And I would probably be there.
But you're not going to Kansas City.
But they didn't squib kick. Even though I did look at tickets the other day. I was trying to convince myself to do it.
Somebody got a ticket for Dave. Hit us up.
But I don't think
Dave.
I don't think
if
Rachel
you want the Bengals to win, take Dave. He's 13-1.
That's right. I don't think Rachel would appreciate me being like, "Oh, babe, sorry, guess what? I'm going to the game now."
I think if somebody got you a ticket and was like, "Here's your ticket," she would understand.
I don't think she would care.
You don't think she would take one for the team?
She's taken a lot for the team this season.
It's the AFC Championship, Rachel.
I've gone to 14 football games, so
she's been at what, like 5?
She went to Indiana and the Raiders game, so 2.
Oh, only 2. Yeah, you're cutting your credits close. I don't know you got any extra room to work with.
No.
All right. Well,
she claims that if they win, that she's going to the Super Bowl. I hate to break it to you, hun, but
she knows where the Super Bowl is, right?
That's not happening.
How do I handle my problem, Dave?
What is that?
Junior is all in Chiefs, all in Travis Kelce. Like, there's no turning back on the fact that this child is at this point in time a Chiefs fan.
That's fine. It's not like you're a diehard. Like, it'd be different if you were like my dad and had season tickets since like 1979, and then I became, another team fan of another team, and then they played in the
Yeah. She was named after the family. She has been since a very young age, all in on Travis Kelce. telling me that she was named after him and not Jason.
So, like,
Everybody knows this story
is she
by
gonna be
now.
like legit sad when they lose? Like, is she
Yeah.
that
Oh.
she's that into it, or in the?
She was almost crying sitting in this exact chair when the Bills scored with 13 seconds left.
How old is she?
11.
Yeah, I remember. I remember those days.
13 seconds left.
Those
It's
days.
the commercial break. Like after the Bills scored the touchdown, when Kansas City scored to go up with a minute left, she poured herself a bowl of Fruity Pebbles.
I thought you were gonna say a whiskey.
No, she poured a lot. I mean, she did the 11-year-old version of a whiskey, right? She poured herself a bowl of Fruity Pebbles. She was sitting in my office chair celebrating her win. And then the Bills scored with 13 seconds left. And she puts the bowl down and she looks at me and she says, "Dad, they can't score in 13 seconds, can they?" And I was like, I don't think so.
I don't want to crush your soul, but yeah, they can't.
No, 13 seconds. It's probably Dad scored in 13 seconds a couple times, but I don't think that they're gonna. And then they did. And as I have said on every show, like, she ran around the house screaming so loud that I'm pretty sure the neighbors were like, I think they're murdering their child. So there's a Kelsey jersey on order. It's shipped today.
Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Kelsey, but your little run is about to end.
Yeah, I just would be quiet about that because she will commandeer this mic next week and talk mad shit.
That's fine. Touchdown favorite. You should win.
All right, let's get out of here. It has been another outstanding edition of the Holy Grail BCJ podcast. He's Dave Simone. I'm Chad Brendel. Thank you to Aaron Smith on the ones and twos. We'll see you next time right here on BearcatJournal.com.